I'm sitting on my grandfather's porch, nursing a cold beer with the state's attorney general, when the wood of my front door suddenly splinters like a matchstick. Delilah Cromwell, the HOA president everyone calls the psycho, literally kicks the door in. Designer heels clicking on broken glass, $1,000 blazer reeking of aggressive perfume. She storms in, screaming about jurisdiction and unpermitted gatherings. She has zero clue she's just committed 6 felonies in front of the one person in America who can throw her in prison. Even better, she's live streaming the whole thing to 3,000 followers, thinking she's documenting her victory over a troublesome homeowner. Little does she know, she's actually broadcasting her own arrest warrant. Let me back up. 6 months ago, I thought she was just a power-drunk neighbor. It turns out she was running a $4 million embezzlement scheme, and I was about to accidentally burn her entire criminal empire to the ground. My name is Marcus Henley. I'm 52, and after 30 years of installing power grids, I finally retired to my grandfather's fishing cabin on Clearwater Lake. It's 2 acres of heaven that old Pop bought back in 1963 for $800. To me, it's priceless. Hand-hewn logs, a stone fireplace, and a screened porch that creaks in all the right places. It's completely off-grid, solar panels, well water, and total peace. Pop always said, "The land picks you, Marcus, and when someone wants it real bad, find out why, because it's worth more than they're telling you." I should have listened sooner. Delilah Cromwell rolled into our community like a tornado in an escalade. Her vanity plates read Rule 1, and she wore her HOA badge like a sheriff's star. Her mission? To turn our rustic lakefront into an upscale resort. Funny thing, though, within 2 months of her arrival, 3 elderly couples had mysteriously sold their cabins for way below market value. The war started on a Tuesday. I'm watching the loons on the lake when I hear the sharp click, click, click of heels on my private wooden dock. Delilah is taping a violation citation to my door. Unsightly dock structure damaging community values. Fine, $500. Compliance required in 72 hours. I tried to be reasonable. I told her my property predated the HOA by 40 years. She just put her hands on her hips and said, "Everyone on this lake answers to me, sweetie. Ask the Hendersons how well fighting me worked out for them." The Hendersons were the couple who had just decided to downsize. A cold knot formed in my stomach. By the end of the week, I had 3 more citations, snapping photos of my solar panels, my garden, even my grandfather's hand-carved railings. I thought it was just petty politics. I didn't realize I had a target on my back in a much deadlier game. When I didn't tear down the dock, the big guns came out. A cease and desist letter from a fancy law firm claiming my dock was illegally trespassing in community water. They threatened a lien on my property. Panic started to set in, but then I remembered Pop's voice. The truth is in the county records. I went to the courthouse. Betty, the clerk who remembered Pop, helped me pull the original 1963 survey. My blood turned to ice and then boiled. My deed was crystal clear. My lot included 50 feet into the lake. The dock wasn't trespassing. It was sitting smack in the middle of my own property. Better yet, the HOA wasn't even formed until 1998. My land was grandfathered in, exempt from their nonsense. I felt untouchable until I tried to leave for groceries and found Delilah's Escalade parked sideways, completely blocking my driveway. She rolled her window down an inch. "Just reviewing parking regulations, Marcus. This might take a while." Then came the Lakeside Beautification Committee. It was the neighborhood hit squad. Neighbors who had been my friends for decades started crossing the street to avoid me. Delilah's Facebook posts were masterpieces of character assassination. Concerned about eyesore properties affecting all our own values. Hashtag Lakeside Strong. One night, someone spray-painted "Comply or Leave" across my mailbox. My hidden security camera caught Delilah's plates at 2:30 a.m. When I called the sheriff, her nephew, Deputy Chad Cromwell, showed up. He shrugged. Probably just kids. Then Delilah weaponized the bureaucracy. Building inspectors, environmental officers, the fire marshal, they all swarmed my property. Every single one of them found my cabin was over-engineered and perfectly safe. But the goal wasn't to find a violation. It was to create a paper trail that made me look like a problem owner. Then she got greedy. My buddy Jake from the union called. "Marcus, that lady is full of it. You built half the clean energy grid in this county." He organized a parade of 20 master electricians to publicly vouch for my work. That shut down the hazardous installation narrative real quick. But the real breakthrough happened at my kitchen table. I was organizing papers for a meeting with my lawyer, Chuck, when I noticed a tiny footer on one of the fines. Payable to Lakeside Estates Community Improvement Fund, account 84729. I went back to Betty at the records office. We pulled the HOA's public financial filings. The numbers didn't just not add up, they were a crime scene. In 2 years, the HOA had collected $280,000 for dock repairs that never happened. They paid $150,000 for landscaping to a company owned by Delilah's brother-in-law, a company incorporated exactly 3 weeks after she became president. There were insurance claims for storm damage on days when the weather was perfectly clear. It was systematic fraud. Delilah was driving property values down to scare people into selling, while simultaneously draining the community fund into her own shell companies. The cash buyers swooping in, they were connected to the same development group she was funneling money to. I realized this wasn't just about me. She had robbed the Hendersons. She had robbed everyone. That's when Chuck contacted the Attorney General's office. They were already investigating HOA corruption across the state and needed a controlled confrontation. They needed to catch her in a criminal act, live and in person. We set the trap. We invited the Attorney General to my cabin for a symbolic announcement regarding new homeowner protection laws. We knew Delilah's ego wouldn't let her stay away. We knew she'd see the unpermitted gathering and try to shut it down. And boy, did she. She didn't just knock, she went full commando. As she stands there in my living room screaming at the Attorney General, who is calmly recording her on his phone, undercover officers emerge from the back rooms. The look on her face when the real handcuffs went on, not the ones her nephew carries, was better than any sunset I've ever seen on the lake. They found more than just embezzlement. They found tax evasion, wire fraud, and the forged documents she used to scare the Hendersons into selling. Delilah Cromwell is currently trading her designer blazers for an orange jumpsuit. As for the lake, it's quiet again. The loons are back, the beautification committee has disbanded, and Pop's dock is still standing tall. I've learned one thing. An HOA is only as powerful as the secrets you let them keep. If you ever find yourself in a neighborhood war, remember Pop's advice. Follow the money, find the original deed, and never ever let a Karen see you sweat.